Good. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is the City Council meeting on June 1st. Pam, would you please do a roll call?
Councilmember Reardon,
Here.
Councilmember Swift, Councilmember Feist absent, Vice Mayor Cirque. Present. Mayor Gunselman.
Here.
We have quorum.
Can you all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, I'm going to open the public forum in a minute. I just wanted to make a couple points. I did come across an email circulating that this was the last chance if people wanted to talk on the dispensary issue. It's not agendized tonight. It'll go to the Planning Commission at least once and then the council, so that is not the case. People are, of course, welcome to speak on anything not on the agenda. Can I get a quick show of hands of how many people intend to speak tonight? I think it would be, we have the budget on our agenda tonight, which is very, very important. I encourage you all to stay and be a part of that conversation, which applies to every decision in the city. We'd like to get through public comment in an hour. It looks like if we did about 3 minutes each, everyone could speak within that hour. Does that sound, council, does that sound good to you?
Yeah, we got to get through it.
We could go back to it at the end of the night.
So 12 people?
Sounds like a plan.
That's the math.
Okay.
12 people, 5 minutes each.
Thanks for the math help. I
No,
spent all my math on the budget.
So, Mayor, just so we clear, we have the right to limit public comment by reducing the number of minutes if we need to in order to move the meeting forward on agendized items. So if the council wants to go 5 minutes and see how that goes, if there's going to be more than 12 people, we have that right. So I just want to be clear that that is something that is allowed and we can do.
Okay, well, it sounds like we could still shoot for 7 o'clock to get on to city business that's agendized tonight. I want to remind everybody that under the Brown Act, we are not permitted to respond or engage in any of this discussion on items that are not on the agenda. The city manager's report sometimes includes brief updates on things people bring up. So that's right after this part. And some of your questions may be answered. And then also please refrain from applause or booing or anything else, both to get on with the meeting and also to make sure that everybody feels comfortable to speak here. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It would go to Planning Commission first, so I can't tell you exactly, yeah, but
Okay.
it's not yet calendared.
Yeah.
The agenda is always
2 weeks.
published, yeah. Good questions, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and open the public forum, so please use the podium and the microphone. My name is Sutter, I'm resident of Jackson, but I worked with public health for 5 years. I worked for tobacco reduction in the county for 5 years, and I've been in with First Five since 2002. So I'll take this.
Oh, thank you. We usually don't need that. Yeah. And I've been with First Five since 2002. So I've seen a lot of data. I've done a lot of education regarding tobacco, drugs, and tobacco, alcohol, and other drugs. I'm, speaking today, I'm also an Amador Stars board member. We provide transportation for cancer patients and support for their families. I'm speaking today on behalf of myself as a concerned citizen. I've seen what's happened over the years in regard to child welfare issues, gateway drugs with tobacco, alcohol, and marijuana. I think that we can't even get a handle right now on our kids vaping. So for us to think that we would get a handle on opening something like this up in the county, I think would be naive on our part and would concern me in regard to the health and safety of our youth and the impact on our families. So I just wanted to provide my 2 cents, to be happy to be a reference. I have a lot of information and data. It was an excellent presentation that was given at the Board of Supervisors. I followed and gave my opinion there as well. But thanks for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Talking about this issue here, and I put together a packet for each of you.
Sir, do you have an additional copy for the clerk to have?
Say again?
Do you have an additional copy for the city clerk to have for record? Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You bet. Hi, can you wait on starting it until I say my name? Mark Farron from Pine Grove. Can you hear me okay? Okay, go ahead, Pam. Ladies and gentlemen of the council, I would like to bring to your attention some recent comments by the city manager, Tom Dubois, to the Ledger newspaper. It appears that he may be in violation of the ICMA Code of Ethics, which I have handed to each of you. He is a member of this professional society and is called to strictly adhere to these 12 tenets in all his responsibilities for the city. We have spoken with the representative of ICMA, and she clearly states, we take this code of conduct very seriously. City managers can speak to the newspaper about administrative and operational facts. Only the mayor or city council can speak to the newspaper about policy decisions and politics. The following comments by Tom make it look like he is the city council spokesperson, not the neutral, unbiased city manager that ICMA demands him to be. Tom states, we plan to require them to pay for these educational resources for our area. He is referring to the Embark's Youth Alcohol and Drug Prevention Program, of which nothing appears on the website of their website or the internet in general. If a reporter asks a question about the intent of the council, the politics behind a vote, or future directions, the city manager is required to refer the reporter directly to the mayor or council members. He is also supposed to stick to the facts, focus on data, inform the council of project updates and administrative procedures, and not to opine on matters that have yet to be debated by the council. Tom goes on to say, any dispensary must show us how it complies with state laws and take steps to ensure that children do not gain access through them. Possible violation of tenet number 5. By the way, a couple of paragraphs up, 6 and 7 may have been violated. Not only did he make a decision for you about the state laws and having them, any dispensary, he wants them, the state laws, and take steps to ensure that children do not gain access. Not only did he make a decision for you, but once again, he has now reassured the public in the newspaper that you will be policing compliance of state laws. In effect, the public and the Board of Supervisors may hold you accountable to create a Sutter Creek Cannabis Control Department to ensure that Embark continues to comply. Another possible violation of the Code of Ethics, tenet number 9, would have been that Tom was asking the City Council to move the public comment period from 6 o'clock to after the business. That would be number 9. In addition, he allegedly told the City Council that there is not much opposition to this project. It's just the same people showing up. So let's move ahead. Once again, he is shaping policy by his unsolicited opinion, not based on fact. As a matter of fact, there are many people who are opposed to this marijuana project. Tenet number 10. He also makes the very broad statement that the feedback on Embark as a company has been extremely positive. What facts and data is he using to make that statement to the press? Did he contact the police departments, the cannabis control departments, the mayors and city council members of 7 cities? Managers are required to avoid overstepping. Tom does not have the authority to make these decisions and comments. He answers to you, the respected city council, and you answer to the citizens of Sutter Creek. You remember that in 2016, over 9,000 citizens in Amador County voted to keep marijuana illegal, and nearly 500 of them reside in Sutter Creek. If you don't intervene as quickly as possible and make a motion now to stop working on the development agreement, you may go down in history books as the city council that allowed one man, an unelected city employee who does not even live in our community, to ramrod a marijuana dispensary project down the throats of the great citizens of our foothill community. In conclusion, we plead with you, Claire, Dan, and Susan, to do the right thing for the citizens and the children of our fine community and change the course of history in stopping this project immediately.
Thank you. Can we please refrain from any sort of reaction in between speakers? Who would like to speak next?
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ron Hauk, live here in Sutter Creek, been here for 10 years. And you know my story from last time we were here. Love Sutter Creek. Today and for the past several weeks, you've heard a lot of information on the impact of opening the first licensed cannabis dispensary in Sutter Creek and all of Amador County. I'm a baby boomer from the hippie generation. Surprise, surprise. And in the late 60s and early 70s, I smoked a fair amount of marijuana. I was in a folk rock band with my wife and brother and was often surrounded by drugs. That's how it is in the music world. I never got hooked on it, but in the 70s, I discovered I was allergic to marijuana. So I stopped smoking it then, and I've never smoked it again since. The cannabis dispensaries of today sell marijuana products and, quote, flowers, which are up to 10 to 20 times stronger than the marijuana we smoked in the hippie days. I can't even imagine what my allergic reaction would be had I smoked, or let's say sucked on one of those gummies. I may not be here speaking, that's for sure. My wife has already explained a lot about our situation with our son and his cannabis addiction called CUD, which is very common among teenagers today. We all know there are some positive uses for marijuana. We're not denying that, especially when dealing with chronic medical issues of various types. However, the problem here is that we're not just dealing with medical marijuana. The company pushing for this dispensary, Embark, has purposely put dispensaries in areas where there are a lot of adolescents and teenagers, like Chico and Santa Barbara, well known as party towns with large universities and community colleges. Over the past few weeks, you've received a lot of confirming information and testimonies regarding the serious adverse effects, just like Mark shared a minute ago, that marijuana dispensaries bring into our cities and communities. This all adds up to one giant headache for the entire community, which could have been avoided from the beginning. In the beginning, the city may make some money with the marijuana dispensaries, but what cost will it be down the road? And what cost will it be for Amador County? So far, in these dispensaries, this is throughout California, so far these dispensaries, 80 to 90% of all sales are for recreational use marijuana. Medicinal purchases of pot are for 10 to 20%. We call it pot still. That's from the NIH, National Institute of Health. The vast majority of pot users in California are recreational. Surprise, surprise. Smoking or chowing down on THC-loaded gummies for the fun of it and just to get a high or loaded. We already have enough problems in this area, as everybody's shared. So we don't need to worsen the situation. Currently, it seems like the best solution for the city is to make money, or for making money, is to bring in loads and loads of pot into the city and community to sell for public consumption, and especially recreation, with no regard for the public health, safety, and well-being of our city and throughout Amador County. Please don't bring this to our city. We don't need more pot in our city and community with all the adverse effects and problems that comes with it. Please don't turn the beautiful city of Sutter Creek into Pottersville. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then watch the movie It's a Wonderful Life. See what happens to a city that is run by people who mostly care about money and the bad decisions they make for the city, versus what happens to a city that is run by people that care more about the health, safety, and welfare of the city than they do about just money. These people make the best decisions for the city. Bad decisions lead to bad outcomes. Good decisions always lead to good outcomes. So I hope you make a good decision on this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to speak next?
Hello, my name is Christine Anderson. My family's been in Amador County since 1905. And this is just my little story. I don't have all this great information that these two gentlemen just had, but in my family, there were 4 of us. So 75% of my family turned to more addictive, bad drugs from doing pot when they were in school. While going to high school and after, the gateway drug marijuana created 3 of my brothers to move on to stronger, more addictive drugs like cocaine, meth, alcohol, and whatever else they could get their hands on. 2 of them did prison time and 1 did jail time. I don't know why you would want to bring this dispensary into our beautiful county and give our youth much easier access to this drug. It's not worth the revenue if even one young person gets addicted to a stronger substance drug from smoking marijuana. And my 3 brothers have struggled all their lives. We lost our oldest brother he had colon cancer, but he died from complications of that because he was so messed up on drugs at age 55 because he could never get over it that he died from the colon cancer because he didn't even know he was sick. So it definitely is, it's a 47% gateway drug, and we don't need it here. And we really hope that you guys make the right choice.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jody Stenick. I'm a resident of Sutter Creek, and I'm also a prior employee of the city of Sutter Creek. And during my time here, we enacted a marijuana ordinance, and in that ordinance, it says, I'm sure you guys know this, but maybe they don't. Ordinance 10.42.050, sell, transfer, and deliveries prohibited. Sell, transfer, or deliveries of marijuana for any purposes, whether medical or non-medical, to any person at any residence or public place within city limits are prohibited. That's an ordinance. You guys can accept an application, you can look at it, but they can't go into business, they can't sell. The very next one says they can't use a commercial office, industrial, or non-residential building or structure within city limits to allow, transact, or facilitate the cultivation, sale, processing, storage, or transfer of marijuana for any purpose, whether medical or non-medical. So when you guys are putting the cart before the horse, you've got talking with the marijuana dispensary people, when you have something on the books that says you can't have it. So I don't know if you guys are planning to change the ordinance, but maybe that's the first step and let people speak on that, because are you going to change how many plants can be grown, everything else? I mean, there's a lot in this ordinance. Are you just changing one person can come in? Can you say that? I'm going to just let my best friend have a marijuana dispensary and everyone else? No. You guys really need to think this through, because I don't know about the health benefits. These guys can speak to that. I never liked it. I don't care about that. But if a city says you can't have something, you can't have it. And I haven't heard anyone ever talk about the ordinance and that it's already prohibited. So I don't know why you guys are going against your own rules and laws and municipal codes.
Thank you.
Can you hear me okay?
If you can bring your microphone though, so we could hear you, that would be great.
Can you hear me better?
Yes.
All right. My name is Christina Hodge. Before I chose to raise my children in Sutter Creek, I was a mental health professional. I served as the director of a social service agency in the largest county in California. In my career, I worked with perpetrators of domestic violence, sexual abuse, physical abuse, and neglect due to addiction. I predominantly worked to support the vulnerable children who were victims of these abuses. I understand firsthand the volatility of a population with mental health challenges and the consequences of addiction. Amador County has limited mental health resources. The existing demand for services far outweighs the resources available. Even so, Sutter Creek has a new low-barrier 46-unit housing development at Valley View designated for individuals, and I will quote, experiencing chronic homelessness or housing instability while dealing with severe mental health challenges. This development will grow demand for behavioral health services and put at-risk facility residents in close proximity to schools, shopping downtown Sutter Creek, and a proposed dispensary. The cannabis dispensary that the city is proposing on Ridge Road in Sutter Creek is within walking distance to the Valley View facility. It is foreseeable that residents who struggle with substance abuse issues or mental or behavioral health issues would easily gain access to the cannabis dispensary. Furthermore, evidence suggests that individuals with mental health challenges that consume high THC cannabis are prone to psychosis, schizophrenia, or a mental health crisis at a disproportionately higher rate. Please add to these projects the recent efforts by the City Council to either defund or find alternative funding through greater service area for the Sutter Creek Police Department. The pretense that crime will not increase with the confluence of these circumstances is naive. A yes vote on a dispensary in Sutter Creek means that we can anticipate a Sutter Creek mental health crisis with the absence of resources to address it, individuals with severe mental health challenges granted easy access to high THC cannabis, an increase in loitering, theft, drug enforcement violations, mental health calls, and the potential for greater crimes along the 49 Ridge Road corridor and beyond, and a significant reduction in public safety due to increased demands taking police away from Main Street and emergencies. As the council, you should serve the interests of your constituency. The primary interest of citizens across the board is public safety. Public safety is the fundamental foundation of a community. The council has an obligation to serve the people's interests by enacting policies that protect, enhance, and better our community while keeping us safe, not putting the potential for profits over public safety. The constituency had no say in the Valley View project. Now the city is promoting a dispensary necessitated by the expanding financial burdens of city operation. While financial needs are legitimate, public outcry in opposition to the project has gone largely unnoticed by the city as they forge ahead with zoning, ordinances, and application processes. Make no mistake, opposition to this project is substantial. With council members promoting the project, residents feeling unheard, perhaps a ballot measure is the best solution. With a ballot measure, the people of Sutter Creek can legitimately decide whether they want the costs and risks associated with the cannabis dispensary in Sutter Creek. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to speak next? Anyone else? Oh,
Well, I'm actually not sure how I'd follow up to that one, but I'll go ahead and try. I'm Rob Snyder, live in Jackson, actually kind of Jackson next to Pine Grove. We've been here about 25 years. I'm recently retired from Lawrence Livermore Lab and spent a long part of my career in commercial nuclear power. There's a lot of reasons why I think that a vote no on a dispensary in this community is a viable thing. Just vote no. I think one of the reasons that I'm up here now is because I've had some experiences recently and certainly in my life earlier years that have led me to believe that I can't be indifferent to what's going on. When I first heard about the dispensary, I was like, yeah, whatever. And because it's going to happen anyway. You can go to Calaveras to a dispensary. You can go any place in Sacramento. So we're kind of flanked by dispensaries. So what would be wrong with having something local to Sutter Creek? I think there's a lot wrong. I spoke of the indifference, and so that's why I'm here. And how do we get to indifference? If you go roll back in history, when a joint could get you thrown in jail, how did we roll that into it's okay to have a pot shop on a street corner? I remember the days when the kids, I grew up in the Bay Area, where the kids would leave campus, go across the street, the drug dealer would be in the nicest car in town, and everybody would flock around that. Everybody knew what was going on. I don't know how you roll that forward to it's okay now. And I think that's a huge problem. But we've been jammed with information. We've been jammed with it's okay because it's legal in the state. The counties have taken a position to vote on it independently. And so we've been jammed with information to say it's now okay. I'm just saying it's just not okay. One of the things I'm really fearful of, so I did a little research. I haven't done a lot of research like some of these other folks have, but you can actually get a medicinal card at 18. At 18, my grandson's going to be a senior in high school next year. So does that mean all he has to do is get a doctor's note and they can go buy legally pot? Oh, by the way, you can go to any number of these high schools around here, including our Amador High School and Argonaut High School, and get pot. Vaping, I think, is the biggest thing. And it's not like it used to be where you had to leave campus and go off because the stuff stank and, you know, you'd get burned by that. They vape between classes. Okay. And so I understand the dispensary is medical, maybe medical and or adult use, but I'm worried about the trickle down as these kids grow up from high school and into adult years. The trickle down, which I've been promoting to my own kids and grandchildren, is when you're smoking pot or you're doing drugs, you automatically nix yourself from some very good jobs. I know it's legal in the state, but you go to where I just retired from and you can't pee the right color, you don't get a job. Accident and prevention programs also dictate random drug screening. And if you're in any kind of an accident, cut finger, wreck with a company vehicle, you go to drug screening. So there are federal jobs or jobs that are regulated by federal industries or federal organizations like the Nuclear Regulatory Commission that mandate drug screening programs. Those are very good jobs. When you allow kids the idea of false acceptance, okay, to these drugs which are legal, they don't understand that it's not always just that accepted. I guess my final point is I'm all about business. I'm all about cash. But I think, is this the bottom of we're kind of at the bottom of the bucket. This is all we can do. I mean, think of all the people. John DeLorean, remember that guy? He was at financial stress. So he went and got his own little drug thing going on, and he ended up in jail. If we're at the point where we can't think of a good business where there's no question about its acceptance, then we're just not thinking outside the box enough to how to generate good business for this community. Thanks. And by the way, thanks for the AC. It's kind of hot out there. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else care to speak?
Hi there. I live here in Sutter Creek, have for 12 years.
Ma'am, can you speak closer to the microphone?
Or just pull it down.
You saying I'm too
There you
short?
go.
There we go.
Hi there. I live here in Sutter Creek, have for 12 years, have 2 school-age kids. My heart goes out to anyone that has had negative consequences from this issue that we're talking about tonight. Marijuana in the dispensary, it just goes out to you if you've had any negative consequences in your family. I never like hearing that. But I actually am here to support a regulated cannabis dispensary in Sutter Creek. I think it should be an easy win for the community. I think it allows us to focus on other important priorities, like the items on tonight's agenda, like approving our budget and the signing our wildfire community protection plan that's on the budget and the agenda tonight. So I wanted to give you a couple reasons why I support a regulated cannabis dispensary in Sutter Creek. One of them is it's already legal. It's here. That debate is settled. Proposition 64 made cannabis legal in 2016. That's over 10 years ago. So there's really no reason to debate whether or not it's good or bad. The state has already made that decision. The voters voted on that, and that's the law as it is now. So the choice for us is simple. Do we regulate it locally and benefit from it, or do we push that activity and revenue into other towns? I think it's good to keep control in our community. With the local dispensary, residents are already traveling to neighboring cities. That means we lose the tax revenue and economic activity. From what I've read and who I've talked to, there's a big portion of Sutter Creek residents that are in favor of this. And I'm here to support that effort. And a local dispensary ensures cannabis sales are regulated, they're transparent, and they're taxed for our benefit here in Sutter Creek. I think public safety has been talked to a bunch tonight. I think a regulated dispensary, again, reduces reliance on unlicensed, underground sales, and it improves safety and product quality. Also, it's not consumed on site like all of our myriad of wine bars we have here. So there's not immediate impaired driving that would occur as a result of it. So it reduces public safety risks in that manner. I've read that a dispensary in Sutter Creek may create up to 12 jobs, possibly union jobs. I think stable, regulated positions with worker protections and benefits would be great for Sutter Creek. That's meaningful economic support for our working communities here. And then addressing concerns about exposing youth. Again, I have 2 school-age kids in this in Sutter Creek. You have to be 21 or older to get in a dispensary. They're secure, they're regulated, they're monitoring. There's no legal pathway for a youth to get into any dispensary for any reason. And if protecting a child is our goal, we should have more effective strategies like investing in youth programs, supporting organizations that provide education, mentorship activities, all of which we've done. So in closing, I just want to say I think it's practical, responsible, and forward-thinking to support it. I think cannabis is already here. Bringing a dispensary allows us to manage it safely, support local jobs, and strengthen our communities. And I support it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Barbara Rusatori, born and raised in the county community, excuse me, went to the schools. I don't know if any of you saw the Sacramento marijuana dispensary that was men trying to come and rob the dispensary, and the security guard shot them. One was killed, one was injured. This brings crime to our community. It's a draw for people to come. And even though you say it's safe, only 21-year-olds can go by, when they walk out with that, whatever they buy, the gummies, the marijuana, whatever it is they take, we can't control what they do. Kids have parties. They bring these things to the parties and they share. And kids are curious and they want to try these things. Sometimes it only takes once. Yeah, that's cool. I felt so good. I'm just going to keep up with it. And it expands and sometimes goes into harder drugs. So this is not just, let's make money. Let's not let the other counties take all of our money. Let's not open up this door that can be really dangerous for our community. Do we want the kids bringing their pot or whoever down here at the park where our kids play? Do we really, I mean, because you can't tell them they can't do it. You know, people can't, oh, you can't smoke and you can't get loaded down here. That's right there. Please vote no on this. I would just really appreciate that. And I do appreciate you guys trying to look at ways to bring in money. I do. You have a hard job and I appreciate it. But this, I would really appreciate a no vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to speak? Okay, we're going to move on to the city manager's report.
There we go. Thank you. And I do have some comments on the timing for the dispensary at the end of this update, if anybody's interested. So I am a member of the ICMA. I abide by their ethical rules. But again, a lot of what's communicated is factual. And, you know, we all take an oath to uphold the state laws. I don't think I said anything incorrectly there. We are talking to fire chiefs, city council members, city managers, and cities that Embark is in. And they have submitted their application, which does include funding for youth education programs. And that will all be made public as soon as we publish the packet for the Planning Commission, which we are busy working on. So just to go through my normal city manager's report. This is organized according to the annual priorities for the city. The first one is our wastewater plant. We have been kind of concerned about some of the chemicals we use in the wastewater plant. Our supplier has been increasing cost quite dramatically. So we shopped around. We are going to be switching to a new supplier where we think we can save $40,000 a year. So we're doing that as quickly as we can. We're continuing to triage our biosolids, which is driving up our treatment costs. And we've been running a bunch of active testing, daily testing, to try to figure out which businesses or sources are kind of causing the problem in the wastewater system. And then as part of our normal shift in the summer, ARSA and Sutter Creek has been sending our treated wastewater to the golf course in Ione. Just wanted to let the council and residents know we've now switched over where CDCR is supplying the water. And that was planned transition that we normally do in the summertime. But and if there's enough time towards the end of the summer, they will switch back to us. And then we also have a decision coming to council in July around the timing of solar and battery storage for the new wastewater plant. And that has to tie into some grants and tax credits that we got that have some timing limits on them.
Tom, a quick question on that one.
Yep.
Did we ever determine whether or not the purchase of that solar system that will benefit the 1% on the Measure P tax to local Sutter Creek? Will we gain the benefit of that?
They told me that in terms of where the tax goes,
Yes.
they are working on it. I have not yet heard a confirmation on that one. So thanks for reminding me. I will follow up again.
Let's follow up on that.
Tom, before we shifted back to CDCR, were the reservoirs lower than typical this time of year because we had drained Henderson, or about normal?
They were about normal. We got some late rains. We had a lot of water down in Preston. So we were able to lower Preston for a month. And again, Henderson is low, but so I think we're in good shape, but we'd like to have them come back to us towards the end of the summer if they can. Code enforcement's another focus for the year. There's money included in the draft budget to really step up some enforcement, some particularly tougher issues. And then weed abatement letters. And this is fire vegetation. When I say weed, is also starting. And so the city, again, for the second year, we are enforcing weed abatement. So the fire district does inspections. People are given time to take care of their properties. And if they don't, then the city will come in and abate the weeds.
Tom, with Larry retiring, will that position be filled or replaced or redesigned or as code enforcement officer?
We're continuing to look for somebody that could replace Larry to be the code enforcement.
Are we doing that internally?
No, probably as a contractor, just like Larry.
Okay.
And then on the capital project side, we're expecting bids on repaving Sutter Hill Road tomorrow. The deadline is tomorrow. You'll see in the budget that with Measure P, TUT, as well as impact fees, as well as grants and donations, we are looking at funding a lot of capital projects this next year.
How many bids have you received so far?
How many what?
Bids?
You don't see them until you open the bids tomorrow.
I'm just wondering how many you've received. Can you share that?
Yeah, they go into the engineering firm, so I don't know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then nothing definitive, but we've got some positive indications that the Monteverde grant, we will get at least some funding there. And there's some pictures here. The team has been doing some cleanup of Gateway Park. Hopefully it's looking nicer.
It's looking better.
They were hard at work,
Yeah.
good part of this morning, early this afternoon.
The pool is ready to open. It opens this Saturday. And I got some more on that later on. And then we took advantage on Friday after the rains. We burned some of the burn piles from the trees in Sutter Hill Road that were up on Eureka Minehead. And then on the economic development front, I attended a one-day event in Lodi. It was called Biocatalyst. It was really about rural innovation and the reuse of agricultural byproducts. It was quite interesting. They have got a lot of stuff going on and really trying to steal some of their ideas and see what we can do. Kind of coming out of that, there's a USDA Rural Innovation Grant with a deadline of the 30th. And again, we're using a consultant to help work on that. It's not really taking staff time at this point, but we're going to try to get an application in. And then we have been talking to Sacramento State's Carlson School of Innovation. We're going to be hosting an event here in Sutter Creek on Main Street sometime in July. Probably at one of the wine tasting rooms. So there'll be a entrepreneur who will speak, and then it's kind of a networking event for entrepreneurs in the region. And then just an update on some of the staff development. So Sergeant Brewer did go to a training in May. It was in Washington, D.C. And then the Public Works team, they attend the CRWA Expo annually, which includes a lot of training sessions. So Dan, Jeff, and Corey were there at the end of April. And so we continue to look for other opportunities like this for the rest of the team. And then, like I said, we're getting ready to open the pool on June 6th. So we held a emergency prep training. Chief O'Connell was there. Fire chief was there, and some of the Public Works team. All of our new lifeguards, kind of were assured and kind of went over what to do in an emergency, as well as just kind of day-to-day activities at the pool. And then the next day, a lot of these folks, it's their first job. We had a HR paperwork signing day where they all came in and filled out their paperwork together. We are still drafting the Amador City Police Services contract. They remain interested in that, so that's kind of moving forward. And then mid-month, we are going to be removing those final trees on Sutter Hill Road that kind of lean horizontally. It's going to be the most challenging part. There's probably 4 or 5 trees that will be taken down.
Any participation from the phone company yet?
No, not expecting. And then we've found some, again, there's a new state law about ADA support on your website. We've been trying to find some cost-effective solutions. I think we've got some good leads. So we've continued to kind of shop and look at what people are offering. And then we had our first annual Police Foundation dinner. The team worked really hard, and they pulled off what was a very nice event. I think you guys were all there. So hopefully first of many.
Yeah, it was great. Good work. Yeah.
And then on upcoming events, we have the Italian picnic and the parade coming up this weekend. Foothill Conservancy is having a feast on June 14th. We're having our 3rd 4th of July pool party at the Sutter Creek Pool. And then we have the county fair and our annual Ragtime Festival, August 7th through 9th. And then in terms of upcoming agendas, tonight's kind of a draft budget. In your next council meeting, we will attempt to get to the final budget. We can take another meeting if we need to. In June and July, I expect to bring you some code enforcement ordinance updates. The next meeting, we're going to talk about this micro trenching variance to enable broadband internet. It's going to hopefully go down Main Street. We also have the appointed treasurer ballot language coming to you. the sewer system management plan, which we have to do every 5 years. And then hopefully the audit will be completed in July. I mentioned the solar and the battery plan. And then the Embark development agreement is scheduled to come to you guys in August. And then depending on the schedule, I'm just announcing it early. We'll see as we get closer, but we may look at canceling the September 8th meeting, which is the Tuesday after Labor Day. So just a little bit of detail about the 11 Ridge Road, which is the Embark development agreement. So we have a planning commission meeting scheduled on July 8th. The planning commission it's their purview to make decisions on site plans, conditional use permits, the sign permit. They will also make recommendations on the rest of the application, which is the zoning amendment, the development agreement, and the CEQA findings. And then the schedule would bring that to the council on August 3rd, where the council would decide on the zoning amendment, the development agreement, and those CEQA findings. And then I understand that Embark is holding another community meeting. It's on June 14th. It's at 5 p.m. at the Kyoto Inn. And that's my update.
Thank you, Tom. I asked my questions kind of as we went through. Did you guys have any others?
I'm good.
Jim? No? Okay. Right, we have no presentations tonight. Takes us to item 6, the approval of the minutes from May 18th.
Actually,
Oh.
I do have one question.
Okay.
Tom?
Yeah.
In our earlier conversation or exchange, with my agenda request, would that be now or would that be later?
I think council member comments is the right.
Gotcha. Got it.
Okay, approval of the minutes from May 18th.
I have one correction.
Shoot.
On page 9, under mayor and council member reports, it's reported that I shared that there would be no air quality board meeting this week. And in fact, actually there was, and I have an update from that meeting that was May 19th. I have an update this evening later.
We'll take note of it,
Okay.
Vice Mayor. Thank you
That's-
very much for letting us
yeah.
know.
And air quality board, no air quality board. It's a matter of just one vowel. Never mind. Never mind. That's all I have.
On 10, the mayor and council member reports, I reported that the Benefit Foundation was going to put some more money into the grammar school.
Okay.
It says Entrepreneur Center here, which it could be part of an Entrepreneur Center at some point. And repairing the wall and windows facing Gopher Flat, it says the Monteverde store. I think that just needs struck there.
Oh, we'll do that correction, Madam Mayor.
If there's nothing else, is there a motion?
I move we accept the minutes with the made corrections.
Second?
Okay, there's a motion and discussion. Pam?
Vice Mayor Cirque,
Aye.
Councilmember Reardon,
Aye.
Councilmember Swift, Councilmember Fives absent, Mayor Gunselman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, now we're on to the consent agenda, which I can hear a motion to approve at once unless anybody wanted to pull anything.
I'd like to pull A.
Okay, well, let's start with A.
The ordinance as presented, and I missed this in the last meeting on, it's the second full page of the ordinance, the oversight following council approval. It was in the draft and I missed it, but it seems presumptuous. It says beginning after the close of fiscal year 2026-27 and annually thereafter, when we haven't voted on whether we're even going to have it or not. So I don't understand why that's included, beginning after the close of fiscal year 26-27. So is that assuming that the ordinance will be passed?
Derek, can you take that?
Could you say?
Yes, it assumes that we will adopt it tonight.
We haven't voted on it. so-
Correct, but the language doesn't require the report until the end of next year.
Would it not be more accurate to strike the fiscal year of 26, 27 and include, and replace it with following the first year of implementation? I just find it
That would
difficult to
fine.
vote,
Yeah, so
to vote on this
sure. The
when we
problem-
haven't voted on what this is going to cover.
Right, but it requires us to, at the end of the fiscal year, to do the replacement. I'm fine with the language, and that would be non-substantive. The problem we face is if we make a substantive change to the ordinance, that we'd have to essentially re-vote on it. We'd be reintroducing it tonight. But I think if we're just clarifying that the concept of doing this again in a year and you want to use that language, I don't deem that substantive. And if you want to make a motion to switch that language in there, I'd be fine with that. And I think we can enact tonight with that language.
I would like to make the motion that,
Oh, hang on,
Oh.
Jim had something on that item too.
oh, okay.
I have some similar concerns. I think someone reading this would think it's a foregone conclusion that the city of Sutter Creek is going to put in a surveillance system or surveillance cameras. And I think it was clear at the last meeting, at least I tried to clarify that what we were doing was preemptively passing an ordinance that would regulate surveillance systems if we were in fact move forward with doing so. And I just want to be on the record that that is the case. Reiterate that that's what we talked about.
So again, before this ordinance was in place, it would be a normal purchase process. There's no policy, right? So, you guys would approve it potentially in a budget. There probably would have been very little discussion. So this is actually giving you much more control, right? Nothing can happen unless this policy is followed, and that includes even applications for grants, starting to purchase. So
Right.
it kind of does, if I hear what you're saying, I think it does, it actually supports your position to have this and rather than not have it.
Okay, that's fine, but I do want to just go on the record again that the council has not made a decision
Right.
with regards to moving forward with
Yep.
contracting with a third party provider or
Correct. And
purchasing in-house.
and it says if the city ever did, it would have to follow a policy.
So that
Yeah.
is now clear to me. I think anybody that would want to know.
Yep.
Is
And
that-
maybe,
Jim, that,
And that's,
That was my understanding.
yeah.
Excuse me.
Last meeting with
Sorry.
regard to-
absolutely. That's my understanding as well. This is just a policy. If in fact we decide we want to go down that road, this provides us some,
And we all understand. that.
yes,
I think someone outside.
yeah, I hear you.
This agenda.
Yeah.
Read that, they
Right.
wouldn't necessarily understand.
Yeah.
Well, that's what struck me about including this next fiscal year as a starting date. That's what to me was presumptuous.
so it's starting date for reporting. And so maybe if Derek is okay with it, maybe a non-substantial change would be keep the language that's there or the first year after
If
it's implemented.
Beginning after the close of the first year of implementation and annually thereafter. It's pretty,
Well, you guys would approve, if you approve it tonight, it becomes implemented. The report would be a blank. There is no purchase technology,
Right,
but
there's no-
every year we would have to give a report that said we have not
but the
purchased.
year has to be
So if you
26, 27 has to come out.
well, it would be 26, 27.
If we approve it tonight, then the first year would be 26,
That
27.
again, I go back, is presumptuous the way that it's written. It is
No,
good,
no,
but
so
it's
Julie, what it says is the city would have to report on any surveillance technology. And since you guys didn't approve any,
We wouldn't.
the report at the end of 26, 27 would say we have not purchased anything.
That's all.
I
shall produce and make available.
I
No, it,
really appreciate your point, but
it's that, it says specifically, beginning after the close of fiscal year 26-27 and annually thereafter, the city shall produce and make available to the public an annual surveillance report.
A report. right.
Yes, but if there is no, let's say, if there is no surveillance technology purchased, this is.
It'll be a
the-
very simple report.
It'd be a one-pager
You
that
wouldn't-
just says we didn't do anything.
why-
Or we voted against it.
I don't understand why we have to say something.
Because if
that-
we do something.
No, let me just finish. Why do we have to say that we don't have a surveillance report if we don't have surveillance technology?
So, but I
If you
think,
don't have the technology,
Yeah.
you should, it should follow up that, no, you're not going to have report. I have a problem with referring to 26-27.
right. So again, I think your point is valid and it would save us effort of writing a very short report. But what if we changed it to say 26-27 or the first year of technology was
Why
perfect?
don't we
Or
just put the
something.
first year of implementation?
Well, when you say implementation, I think you mean when something was purchased. Right?
first year of a
Activity?
content operating system or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
That would be fine.
If we
Yeah.
bought something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could support that motion if that's what you're proposing as a motion.
I think the important part is this actually safeguards what we're all saying,
Correct.
that nothing will happen
no,
until
I
it's
agree.
approved.
I agree.
So-
But the way it's written now, it kind of assumes, like, I think, that it,
I'm fine with changing the language, but I
Sure.
understand why it's there. Like as of now, any surveillance activity that happens in Sutter Creek has to abide by this policy and the policy that comes after and be reported on.
yes, no, and I don't have a problem with that. It's, but even you prefaced with it, with if.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's make the language change that staff is comfortable with, that reflects what Julia's concern is. And Jim has kind of seconded that motion, I think. And you have any problem with that?
Do you have the language, Pam?
Yes, we have.
And that was not substantive, Derek?
That's my interpretation.
Ma-
So we could go ahead then and vote on this?
So what would the,
Oh,
Yeah, we took it off consent, sure.
So I 100% agree with what you guys are saying, but I do think it's a nice idea to leave it in there so if people see it, they can see at the end of next year that nothing was happening or when it did happen, or if you approve it sometime during the year, at least they know when it happened in case they didn't come to every meeting. Taking it out means it could fall off the radar. Someone might not see it, remember it. Having it in there is a constant reminder that every year you're supposed to report on the surveillance. Secondly, I just want to segue into what I said earlier. This is the right way to do it. You do the ordinance first, and then you accept if you're going to buy something. Same with marijuana. You do the ordinance first, and then you look at application. But I do agree with this ordinance, and I do think you should keep it in. Thank you.
yeah, I have no problem with the ordinance, just, and having it as a safeguard. If it could, the wording could be modified in that one paragraph.
Is that your motion? Pam said she has the.
Can you read the
Language
language back then? Pam, could you read it back?
For a minute. We'll be working with City Attorney Cole on this one. It says something about you wanted to clarify that you don't want
A
the,
specific year.
the specificity date.
Correct.
You wanted it to be generic. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yes, duly noted.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you want to make a motion? Because we pulled it off at consent, and so I think we should do this one
I
at a
make a
time.
motion that we approve the ordinance for the surveillance technology, privacy protections with the one modification to paragraph 2.55050.
Okay, is there a
removing
second?
Year 2026-27.
I second.
Pam?
Vice Mayor Cirque,
Aye.
Councilmember Swift,
Aye.
Councilmember Reardon.
Aye.
Councilmember Feist absent, Mayor Gunselman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
What else did you want to pull, Jim?
Oh, I lost my page. What was the next one on there?
C?
The FPPC conflict of interest.
You mentioned the C.
Yeah, C and D. Just, this is kind of probably a dumb question. So the chart that was on there in regards to what the different employee positions and what they have, the different categories that they have to file on, that is not, just to be clear, that was what we had previously too, right? Nothing's changed.
Nothing's
It says
changed.
we're rescinding the previous ordinance, but this one is basic. We're just rescinding it and then replacing it with exactly the same one. Just clarify. Okay.
correct.
And it says that in the staff report.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
it's, there's no
Like I
changes.
said, it's a dumb question. Okay.
It's not a dumb question.
I
but
just
I
wanted-
had the same one. It's the same.
And then on that, the fire safety council stuff, Sutter Creek situation is a little unique in that we're not the fire, we don't run our own fire department. It's the Sutter Creek Fire District. And I just want to be sure to say, or to make sure that we're working closely with the fire district. And do we, it sounds like maybe as the municipality might have a little more sway when it comes to grant applications, or because we don't have a fire department, does it really make the fire district sort of the lead on any kind of grant
I think-
application?
I mean, they probably would be the lead. You know, Dominic was at all these meetings, well, most of the meetings. I was one of the few, I think, city
City
managers who were at
manager,
some of the meetings. I didn't go to all of them,
Right.
but there was an early period where they collected all the assets
Okay.
and things of concern.
It sounds
But-
like you're on top of it.
Yeah.
That's my only concern.
But I think either of us, the fire district or the city, can leverage this.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good question, Jim. If that's all, did anyone want to make a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda? That's items B, C, and D.
So moved.
Second?
Pam?
I beg your pardon, who made the second?
Julia?
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Swift,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cirque,
Aye.
Councilmember Reardon,
Aye.
Councilmember Feist absent, Mayor Gunselman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, we have a public hearing for vacant position report. It's in our packet here. Did you want to introduce it? Tom, there's,
This is, Pam, do you want to do it? You want me to do it? Okay. This is, I think, the second year of this law. It's just it's an update on vacant positions. It's also an opportunity for the labor unions to come address the council. Though again, they can come at any public comment. So this last year, our primary position was the police officer position, which was open for an extended period, but it's now filled. We had no openings in SEIU. And then we have one unrepresented position that is currently open that we're not actively recruiting for. We were thinking about potentially restructuring that position. So again, this is really just a state law that gives the time once a year for them to come address you if they'd like.
on that note, I'm going to open the public hearing. Would anyone care to speak on the employee vacant position report? Hearing nobody, I'm going to close the public hearing. And then it looks like we're just receiving the report and having a public hearing, right? There's nothing to approve. Okay, then we're going to move on to the administrative agenda, which is the budget. Mason, take it away.
Yeah. So yeah, actually, Mason and I will both kind of be going over the budget tonight. And this is a draft. It is not complete. And we tried to highlight that in the staff report. But as the title here says, we're really trying to balance some growth with our infrastructure needs, maintaining our reserves. And again, you've heard me say this probably too many times, but fundamentally what we're dealing with is revenue that goes up 2 to 3% a year and costs that are going up 5 to 10% a year. And how do you make that work? So the good news is this budget is looking particularly strong. So one way you make it work is you pass a local sales tax, and this is the full year of the TUT revenue coming in. It also includes several grants, which helped quite a bit. Some donations, which are highly appreciated. And then we have impact fees from the Valley View project that we expect to receive shortly, and they're fairly significant, even for, 43 apartments. It makes a difference. Have any comments on that? So again, just look at the revenues, top picture. The enterprise fund, the wastewater fund, it's about 5.6 million. It's larger than the general fund. General fund is 3.4 million. Then we have pretty small, under $1,900,000 in street and gas taxes that those funds can only be used for streets. And then we're showing kind of 600,000 in park impact fees coming in from Valley View.
Tom, I'm going by the packet, and the organizational chart was on the first page. Did you, were we gonna look at that? I had a question on there.
I wasn't, maybe we'll just run through this and then you guys can do questions. That art chart was the first sheet of the budget itself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this isn't the budget packet yet.
It's
Gotcha.
just kind of a summary, just kind of restating the staff report. This was not in the staff report. I just thought you guys would want to see it. This is a breakdown of the Valley View impact fees. Some of the fees, we transfer on, like the fire district fees, the school fees, the regional transportation fee. But the rest of it will come into the city. So there's about $40,000 for public safety, over $500,000 into the Parks and Rec Fund, $150,000 for local streets. There's about $450,000 in sewer connection fees. And then they are also making a additional payment of over $250,000 for the expansion of the collection system up in Sutter Hill. And then you can see the rest of the fees here.
Tom, just so that I understand, when we approved this thing, the county didn't come and ask for additional mitigation fees, did they? Just the standard fare?
Correct.
You mean
Just to
we
be
didn't
clear, we
ask
didn't-
for additional
We didn't.
mitigation fees?
Well, nor did the county.
Just to be clear, we didn't approve it. You talking about the project?
The project
The
itself,
project was basically pre-approved because it has a right by,
state of
used.
California.
and the
Right.
state of California law dictates that if a parcel like that is zoned as a high density,
Right.
then you can't deny a project, even though it's different than a conventional apartment.
Right.
let's say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
But
no
you also-
different. I don't like that we don't have that control, but that's the way it is.
But that's the way it was. Yeah.
And to your point, I think that
That
you're
came up in
making.
public-
Well,
That
again,
came up in public comment too, that
sure.
we-
The other part of the question, I mean, impact fees are highly regulated. You have to have a nexus study.
Right.
County couldn't just impose a new nexus fee within the city of Sutter Creek. So no, there's no other fees. And again, these are backed up by, this was actually in the previous nexus study, we just did a new one,
Right.
but this project was approved under those old fees.
Right.
I was going to say in public, or my city manager report too, because I think there's a little misinformation out there that this Valley View project, 50% of the units, 23 of the units are just low income working people, not this mental health transitional care. and the other 23 units are the transitional care.
Right.
So it's a mix.
Actually, I don't think that's transitional care. It's permanent supportive housing.
Permanent supportive
That's
care.
different than transitional care.
Too many buzzwords.
Yeah, but I think what Dan was maybe asking is, these are regular impact fees that any building would have. That the county chose this site and the city didn't ask any or didn't demand any additional mitigations. I
Right.
think is what you were saying.
Right.
And I don't know that we could have, but no, we didn't.
Right.
I also think it's, again, I think we've talked about sensible growth and nobody's looking for wild growth. But again, it's kind of interesting, just 40 some apartments can have a big impact on our budget.
Right.
And I would point out, again, these are one-time fees.
Yeah.
So using them for capital projects is, I think, the proper thing to do. You don't want to really incur an ongoing annual obligation with a one-time fee, then you're going to get in
Right.
trouble.
And they're restricted?
Yeah. I mean,
These
they
categories?
Yes.
right. Yeah, go ahead. If you want.
No, yeah, and Jim, you're correct. You can't use a streets impact fee to pay for like a park improvement. That's not the purpose of that impact fee. So you are not allowed to use those funds for that purpose.
And
I think
even,
that's what you're going for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and within the purpose, isn't it restricted that you have to use it for new or repairs? Like you can't use this money for potholes, right? It's
Correct.
something to facilitate whatever the building is.
That's correct. Yeah.
So just a little bit, some of the things we're thinking about as we work on the budget, definitely keeping an eye on inflation, rising fuel costs. We inflated fuel for both PD and Public Works for this upcoming year. And then again, when you look at labor and benefits, and we're kind of throwing insurance in there as well, combined, we're seeing kind of 10% annual increases. Some of the things that helped us deal with this, we did sign the multi-year labor agreements that also included increased contributions to unfunded liabilities. That's really starting to help. And then we also have updated all of our cost recovery fees, which is also, I think, helping us as we go into this budget.
I just really quickly want to jump in and just do a quick little blurb. I put in one of my monthly staff reports a month or two ago that I was working with the RMA about one of our biggest driver for our insurance costs for the city coverage, whether that's property or liability. We have really expensive flood insurance. We're a unique situation where we have the creek here and we do have coverage to protect city assets in case there was a catastrophic event. Those policies typically have very high premiums because catastrophic events are very expensive to cover. So it demands a high premium. I was working with them to remove some I viewed as superfluous coverage for some buildings that it wasn't even on FEMA's floodplain list that we had coverage on. So the RMA is bringing their revised budget for us to review as a group, full RMA to review and approve at the end of June. I'm hoping that removing some of those superfluous properties will impact and lower our property coverage premiums coming into the next fiscal year, which would improve the costs on our end. You would
Right.
see a lower premium cost.
Which buildings, Mason? Just curious.
One that I remember that surprised me was the Monteverde store had coverage. It would take like Noah's flood to get water all the way over there. I mean, we would see
Is it this building?
this one was included as well. Yeah.
This building should not be on.
Yeah, we took this one out, I think.
So those are a couple examples
see.
of some
Thank you.
buildings that
Yep.
it would be catastrophic damage to everybody
The-
if something happened
The,
like
the
that.
basement of the auditorium has flooded multiple times. Have we ever put in a claim for flood insurance?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Jody, do you know?
Yeah, Jody might know.
Jody, do you know? If we ever. Okay, but I wonder if it was the damages were equal to the premiums, I'll bet you the damages were way less. What I'm getting at is why don't we just self-insure on flood and not even have flood insurance at all? Okay, let them buy insurance.
Well, and I think that was the year, what year was that? 2021?
One.
Where there was a state of emergency and everybody was supposed to submit all their damage to the county and OES. Remember that? Kind of had an open ticket.
Oh, okay, because there was like a disaster declared?
Big wet year, yeah.
Okay,
We stood in here one afternoon and declared an emergency.
okay.
I think some
Well,
other,
you know, historically though, how many tens of, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars have we paid on flood insurance, and how much damage has been done by floods?
How much of premium costs can we, calculate on saving by removing, the buildings you've identified? Is there a-
I did ask that question. Like, could you itemize what the premiums might, and they would not give me a number.
Oh,
I think it's a pretty complicated because keep in mind, this is a pooled insurance company, essentially. So our impact might be not as significant as we might think because it's going to lower the total net pool of premiums for flood cover. We're not the only city that has flood coverage, I'm sure. So it's just spread across all agencies. So it might be a diluted impact, but it's something. Because just like our medical coverage, we see 9-10% in jumps every year. This is the same. I mean, I think we saw 11 or 12 in the preliminary budget that we saw at the end of March. So, and that number is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's one of the biggest drivers of our budget, and operationally, expense wise. And it's just been jumping and jumping. So trying to find ways where we can save money in that area because it just keeps growing quickly, faster than we can.
Is the wastewater treatment plant covered by flood insurance?
I believe so.
yes. And I think it probably needs to be.
Well, yeah.
Looks like, yeah.
It's
So-
multiple properties too. I think I remember seeing wastewater treatment plant, like they specifically insured certain parts too.
I'd still be interested to know if we've ever had significant flood damage at the wastewater treatment plant, because we've had some really high
Mm-hmm.
water levels in the creek.
Well, I remember Badger Bridge being underwater a few years ago, like 2017. I could only imagine what happened to the plant.
Well,
Yeah, it's been underwater. Some other areas of savings, last year we were switching our financial software, so that's all completed. So, we're not seeing that expense this year.
do you think I know it's still early, but are we seeing cost savings in operational costs because of the new software system?
I think it's saving us time for sure. Yeah.
Good.
I mean, it's
Good.
hard to put a nominal number on it, but I'm seeing operational efficiencies, just day-to-day stuff that takes less time. It adds up over a year, and I think
Good.
it's also just like quality of life stuff. Like every once in a while, I still have to poke into the old system and it crashes on me, and
Mhm.
you lose.
Right.
So it's stuff like that, or it's that used to be frustrating and you couldn't get around it. Now we don't have that issue. So
Thank you.
So this was also in your staff report, so I don't think we need to read it, but if, again, this give you an idea of the projects that we're looking at kind of across the board.
I had a couple of questions though on that. I wasn't sure what Old 49 pedestrian shoulder meant.
Yeah, that's,
How do you-
again, it's a walkway from basically Kyoto Inn into town along the side.
Okay, that
of
would
the
be
road.
Hanford Street, to be more specific then.
Yep.
And then also police equipment, the smart cameras, approving it in the budget does not mean we're approving the purchase yet. But the budget we'd need to have it in the budget if we were to later approve the purchase, is how I understood it. Is that correct?
Yes.
So
And
in
again,
Jim's words, to put it on the record, even if we approve an amount, some
Yeah.
amount,
No, I saw that line.
ultimately in the budget,
I'm
we're
glad
not
you brought it
approving the
up.
purchase yet.
And And you know, we need some cameras. We have cameras that are broken. So if you don't approve smart cameras, we may come to you with dumb cameras.
So
Gotcha,
to
but this is a
clarify,
placeholder in the budget, not an
Yeah.
approval for the.
Correct. Well, you just pass the policies that says we can't just move forward.
I
So-
just put it out there.
so to clarify then, approving the budget isn't as itemized as what is here. So if
It just
if it's
reserves-
itemized,
It reserves
It's
some
just-
funds that we would come back to you guys with that specific purchase for approval.
But that's true with anything in the budget. It's in
Yeah.
the budget, you may not ever spend it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, and then this slide really, again, there's over 30 capital projects across the city, you know, streets, wastewater, police, parks. That's larger than normal volume. We've got plans and efforts underway on a good portion of them, but just to highlight to council, if we don't have the staff capacity to do all these, you know, we won't do them. We'll roll it over to the next year. And if they're still a priority, we'll bring them back to you. And again, there's 3.6 million in the solar and battery construction costs. And we're gonna bring you back an update and kind of go into the timing of that kind of separately.
The money that we anticipate getting from being a part of that program, or the savings rather, is that in this budget?
No.
None of that's in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when that item comes to us, it will be the cost of doing the work, and then the budget would also reflect, I forget exactly how that incentive worked, but whatever the
Well,
incentive
that's
was.
the issue. Some of them you get a portion the first year, and then you get the rest several years later.
Gotcha.
Based
But
on your
it's
power
not in here.
usage. I mean, they're complicated.
Okay.
Yeah.
so I'm looking at a page, I guess, in a packet where there's the chart in front. So page 1 to page 3, where there's a summary of total expenses citywide. I just kind of compared what the percent expense of the budget was with the percent of revenue dedicated to that category. And correct me if I'm wrong, but for example, the general fund is 3,414,000. That is the expense, but the revenue is just 2% more than that. In other words, the general fund is 98%, as it's listed here, of what the revenue would be. That seems pretty tight. That seems really tight.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that includes all the grants, the impact fees, donations right now. So again, what we need to come back to you guys with next time is details on the wastewater funds and the details on the reserve accounts.
Okay,
Um,
because I'm also looking at the wastewater is overspent based on percent revenue.
Sure.
Yeah, we've been building up reserves so we can start spending, and that's what you're starting to see there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I went through for each of these, is just looking at what percentage of expenses is going to be taken out of projected revenue. And obviously the general fund having only a 2% leeway, to me is a little unsettling. If there's more information in the future to kind of dampen that. Whereas the street and gas tax is 90% of the revenue.
The development fees also go in their own fund, not the general fund. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So there's another $1.6 million that's not in the general fund
So-
that's being spent on capital.
I'm trying to, in my simple mind,
Yeah.
look at
And that's
look at
what
the information and kind of generalize from here going, ooh, if this is what's being presented, it's,
Yeah, and
Um,
so we hear your concern. That's where I'm not 100% sure that, well, that's correct right now. I think when we move some things over to the impact fees and the general fund will look a lot better.
I think it's also worth reiterating that we go through some preliminary exercises between staff and council at meetings before we get to this point. One of those steps is the general fund projection and the forecast.
correct.
And I think the theme of those is always it's tight. I don't think
Yeah.
it should, I mean, it's not a surprise. I mean, we know the general fund is stretched very thin and we see that going out 3, 4, 5 years. So it's a concern, but it's been a concern and we know it's a concern. We're trying to find ways, I think, to mitigate it as best as we can. I think the hard part, like we've talked about earlier, is a lot of it is operational costs.
Correct.
It's tough. It's really,
Understandable.
really
I
tough.
think we say it every year too. We always forecast the revenue, I think, very conservatively.
Yes.
I think we've hit it every year, if not exceeded it.
Right.
So that's kind of built in as well.
It's funny, Julia, because when I looked at those same numbers that like you're looking at, and I saw that, I thought, okay, just the way my mind works, I thought that's okay for where we are right now. It didn't make me nervous.
I thought it was,
No,
I thought it was great that we weren't dipping into reserves.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That's a step in the right direction.
first time in a few years.
But
Right.
also realizing these are projections that with driving costs up as,
Right.
you know, Mason just said,
I
our revenues are going up 2 to 3, but our expenses are going up 5. So a 5% buffer to me is, or a 2% is thin ice.
I don't think anyone would deny that. I think an outsider who's not familiar with, this situation would go, it's pretty tight, right? But I think we've done so much work together to see these numbers, and it's not a surprise anymore. I think we just know what we operate within, and we do our best to operate within that scope. So it is, I mean, I think objectively it is tight, but we knew that.
Right.
So, question as far as capital projects go under the proposed budgets.
Well, hang on 1 minute.
Okay.
That was just your staff report, right, Tom?
Yeah.
So when we get into the budget, are we going to do, well, I just,
Yeah,
wonder
that's
if,
good.
are we going to do a capital section? What's
I
next?
think right now it's just,
And I'm also contemplating a 5-minute break.
yeah, I think it's really go through your questions. So however you want to do that.
And then go through this packet in its entirety, or you want our questions now?
I guess I wasn't planning to go through the packet.
Okay, that's
page by
fair enough.
page.
So let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll ask our question.
Thank you.
Testing, 1, 2. It wasn't on for a while. Halfway through that, it was very weak because it wasn't turned on.
Oh, you mean air quality board? Yeah. I don't do water, I just do air. Yeah, okay. No, it's no big, like I said, if you look at it, it's just one vowel. I've got too much crap. Where'd it go? Where's the front page? What did I do with my front page? Here we are. Oh, so Vice Mayor Super assured that there would be no air quality board meeting. So if you replace it with N, it's just a matter of 2 vowels.
Claire corrected hers and she said something
Grammar
about,
school.
it's supposed to be the grammar school. Okay.
I believe so. Confirm that with her. That was just what I understood. Better confirm that with her. Yes, yes, always. I would go to the source. Oh. Just,
Is that a grown up?
no, it's just, after sitting down yesterday and this morning, and I'm taking off for a week tomorrow, trying to get this under my head.
Yes.
I just wanted to confirm. Grammar school, right?
Yeah, we call it technically the store. Yes, and this is.
So are you gonna be the ceremonies on Saturday?
That-
I mean, Sunday?
What?
Are you gonna be the master for the parade?
Oh, no, no, no. Mm-mm.
I know you are.
No, no, I'll be doing, street closure barricades. And,
Oh, fun.
yeah, no, we have a master of ceremonies, I think Butch Martin.
Yeah. Lottie said.
Oh, that's funny. So, the last meeting, the favorite presentation.
I did consider.
When he really tries to like, there, and I thought.
Okay, yeah.
Guy. Gary. Last meeting. I thought, he was sending some comment.
I emailed you a picture. I just emailed you a picture. Okay, well, can you display that on the screen later in the meeting? During,
Oh, okay, so hold on.
council member request for.
Okay, so hold on. Let me just. Just remember.
Oh. Small world.
So we're not going to be specifically talking about the surveillance cameras this evening.
No,
Is that correct?
no,
Okay.
we don't, ask, a bid, a proposal, yeah. But I do think that having this, it feels weird, but it's here now, so, this policy.
No, I
So
understand
if-
that. No, I'm all good with that.
Now, somebody, the council is asked to buy these and they say, yes, guess what, this is still here. And,
No, I just had a problem with it. It just, as I was reading.
sure, yeah, well,
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with the concept.
I asked in the budget because there have been times, both experience in the last 6 years, where the budget is an appropriation, considered approval or something, not a placeholder.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how we're.
I,
rolling
that's
right
what I
now,
wanted
but
to make
that's
sure.
people- Now, it's very.
Well,
clear.
especially if something's described as a capital project. Is that assumed that
I don't think cameras would be capital. would they?
it's listed under, it's listed?
Right.
Well, no, it's a lease.
Yeah, I don't know that. but
So
we're-
can we
that's-
ask for,
we're Not there.
okay,
It's not.
because on here, they're listed.
What are you on?
On the priority of capital projects. I'm assuming these are all capital projects.
Okay, but I think this is still, we've just taken measures that it can't be this without. Gotcha. So, I mean, yeah, if we approve this budget, I think there are several of these things that we won't see again before they happen. Like, flowers or whatever, but I think, I guess that's a fair
But-
point, though. If
but
there's
at the-
something-
So a priority is obviously, for example, computer replacement. Just take that for example. Just under. So evidence, equipment, supplies, radar. So I'm just looking at, these are priorities.
These are priors. Yeah, and then the budget is approved, it's clean budget is approved, so by
The smart cameras and the surveillance technology. Those cannot be,
Well, I guess
that's why I want to clarify.
question between, I don't know what the difference between.
One of them is the cameras that are in the cars.
That we already have.
We already have, just.
And that we don't-
Correct.
And he can buy those without.
Yeah.
going
Well, and I
to
think
Yeah.
they
The
just,
other one, the,
So,
with that,
license plate reader.
so what I'm,
they don't,
what,
okay, we'll come back soon. I don't want to lose my train of thought.
I want to clarify that if we're approving the car cameras, replacing something that it's listed here in the same group as the smart camera. So if we approve this, are we approving
That's what a city council meeting, is.
the smart cameras?
You
the
know,
technology?
it's all public.
If what you just said is we're approving the car cameras,
Yeah, no,
Should
because we
come
just
to
went
the-
through and we have a whole ordinance about that. We don't have it.
so
Yeah, I.
Okay.
But
but do you see why
Projects.
this is listed as something that could be automatically approved, but we don't? Okay, not with that ordinance.
Not the next project. Would
The other-
be
Yeah.
appropriate
Anything
for the
that
city
doesn't
to
have.
hold.
Well,
As long as we,
as far as
That's why.
we're good.
amendings, that's gonna happen.
And that's why I really like
Yes.
that.
Yes, that we could have
but
a
that's
town
gonna
hall
be
outside of a city
evidently-
council meeting, like a.
Evidently, the ordinance change is all in a one big package, where if it's approved, then the ordinance is.
I don't like that process.
No, it should be the ordinance first,
But it isn't.
huh?
It's not illegal to do it.
It's not illegal, is that just?
It's not unprecedented.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, it's gonna be all at one time. I understand. It's
Not
not,
to-
it said when it goes to be approved, it'll either be approved or disapproved, but the ordinance will be changed.
Has to be in there.
You have to wait. I'll go ahead, it's 100% because I'm supposed to.
Yeah, yeah, we'll open it up for.
Yeah.
You said on the budget, Sandy?
Yeah.
For sure. I was saying something, Julie, and then I knew I forgot. Oh, I think the difference between car cameras and smart cameras, in my mind, one, we have car cameras.
No, I get that. No, I understand
But
that.
they also, the surveillance takes pictures of everybody, you know, police car camera only takes pictures of the people are. that are in
I
the
just
car,
wanted to
and
make
it's-
sure that the
You don't want
smart
automatic pictures,
cameras,
Stay out of cop.
I just wanted to make sure that the smart cameras or the surveillance technology, are those one and the same? Two,
What was the out? What was the-
and Dan emphasized, and finally my thick head got, that we can't approve
Remember?
Wasn't there something like?
smart cameras or technology
webcam?
because we just passed a policy that it has to come up for a separate vote, for a pay.
Drove the fund out of hand.
That,
And all down Main Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be like.
there's money in the budget.
Right,
His
like-
budget.
Got it.
You can.
Correct,
I believe
July
that.
2nd.
correct.
But if-
Because nothing's
Going to
prohibiting
cities
him from doing so.
Look
Yeah.
at, click on,
Yeah.
button and
I
it
think-
shows.
And see
the
what's going on.
street.
And I think that's.
Just
what it-
live,
just-
live.
I think we've covered it.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
No.
Well, that kind
Fourth
of-
time's the charm.
Stuff
Well,
needs
right.
constant maintenance.
We talked about it, like, the
Yes,
second round of the ordinance, and then I just asked during part of this conversation. So I think we're.
I think we got it.
I'm good. Okay, are we all back? Yes?
I'm back.
Yes.
Okay.
Back now.
Well, you're who matters right now, Mason. Actually, I guess we're up, right?
Did you want to open it for public comment real quick? Just
Yeah, I do. Let's,
let Sandy.
Sandy, whereabouts are you talking about? Is it something in the? Oh, okay, go for it.
Sandy Anderson, Sutter Creek. I was given this by someone today who had seen the budget, and my own fault, I couldn't find the budget, but he asked me to read this, so I'm going to read it. I reviewed the draft budget you will be discussing later this evening. My comments, however, are on the dispensary issue. From that report, I see these statements from the city manager.
quote, with the ongoing collection of major P transaction and use tax funds into our baseline planning, as well as some generous donors and grants and impact fees from Valley View Commons Apartments, the city is well positioned to address critical infrastructure needs while maintaining healthy reserves, unquote. New quote, comparing this year's budget to last year, we largely accomplished our goals of creating a sustainable budget, unquote. So I am asking the council, why do we need a dispensary in this town? Why create a city budget with a built-in dependency on selling $5 million a year of high-potency THC in our community? I recommend you stop this development agreement. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandy.
Thank you, Sandy.
Okay.
Justin Howard also emailed a public comment. He was here. He had to go home for dinner, but
Oh.
he just wanted to say again that he supports the Gopher Flat projects that are on the
Okay.
list.
And everyone's gone for the budget.
Crazy, right?
When all the fun stuff.
Okay, so were you ready for us, Mason, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think between Tom and I, we'll feel them.
I got a couple right in front of me, and then we can just kind of go up and down the table. Is that okay?
Sure. Just have
Okay.
a few.
On the capital projects, $15,000 for the creek cleanup seemed like not very much. Is that just the biologists, or is that the biologists and the actual work?
It's just the study, I
It's
think.
just the biologist.
Yeah.
So again, we're trying to figure out if we have an alternative or what we're going to do here. This would be all the clearances we need.
So if
do-
we were to want to see some actual cleanup done in the creek, we would need to put more.
We think it actually may not cost that much more. But I don't.
That doesn't make sense to
We
me.
think either people will volunteer or
what you're
we'll be
talking
able to
about.
use labor.
Hmm.
So I don't think it would be like hugely more. It might be a little bit more. We might have to rent some equipment. But this is just to get all the clearances. This is just the biologist that's here.
Okay, and that kind of brings me to a larger question about the capital costs. I think we're doing a great job, but I don't think we could possibly do all this in a year. It just seems to be too much. So if that's the case, let's take a for instance here. If we were to not do the part of the work on the auditorium or the Monteverdi store, I guess that's kind of specific funding. Or Old 49 pedestrian shoulder. And how feasible would it be during the course of the year if we got this biologist work done and that cost us $12,000 and then we found out it's another $8,000 to actually do the work that they suggest? Can we shift over some of this money that we could potentially approve on capital to bump up one of these to make them actually a finished project? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, we did bring this to you separately and they are prioritized.
The question.
So yeah, of course we could shift money. It's a
But
little,
when the rubber hits the road and we see that for one reason or another, whether the season has changed, the time has passed, the contractors aren't available, that whatever else, when it becomes clear that something's not going to happen this year, can we shift around?
yeah, but I think the way to think about it is we would probably attack these in priority order, right? So yeah, if you want to look at something way down on the list on streets, and again, it depends on the source of funding too, right?
Right.
But the number 10 on the streets and sidewalks list is the Golden Hills sidewalk. It's going to cost us $1,000 and our RMA will give us $1,000 and we outsource it. So even though it's way down on the list, there's a good chance that one will actually happen. So yeah, I mean, Claire, of course we can do what you're saying. I'm just trying to mentally juggle the priorities and
Sure.
have something that's fair for all of you guys, so we're not just randomly picking projects.
And just because I've got it right in front of me on the org chart, 17.92 existing FTEs, and I counted it, and I think I get who that all is. But then it says 20. Is that because we're counting engineering and planning as a,
No, it's people versus full-time equivalents. So
but if you count, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5.
no, so when you count people, there's no halves.
Okay.
It's a whole person.
Yeah, so like in my office, you would say there's 2.96 of us. So there's 2 part-timers, 2 full-timers,
Sure, but that's still
but
18.
4 people.
So
We have 14 full-time and 4
Oh.
part-time. It's still 18. I did count it that way.
Okay.
I mean,
18?
well,
Oh, so we have
oh,
we have
up
4
here.
part-timers.
Sorry, up here. I didn't count those 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I take that back. Okay, who's next?
So to clarify, these are listed within their each category in a as a priority. Like the first priority for facilities is the Monte Verde Garter.
Yeah, but and that one's is kind
So
of
the-
dependent on a grant. That's
So they're not just numbered, they're actually, this is the highest priority.
yeah.
Okay, so I have a concern then, going down to the last category, the police, the first and the second priority is something that, yes, we have a policy and I get that, but I have, I think, an issue with prioritizing $105,000 for
Yeah.
those when
Yeah.
these,
So
the
I-
others could be, are sure.
Let
And
me
that's
let's correct some of this. So the car cameras, we've always had car cameras.
Okay,
That number is incorrect. That was my fault. It's $11,000 a year.
Right.
For 5 years. So it's not 55, it's 11.
Right.
And then
So the
we've
budget
had,
will be amended to show that.
yeah,
so it's not the 55,185.
Spread out. in 5.
yeah, it's
Yes.
11,000
Yeah.
a year for 5 years.
Yes.
And then we've had these cameras, we had the issue in the
We
basement.
already have them, so these are replacements?
Well, we've have cameras that are broken. We had the
Yeah.
camera that was underneath City Hall. We have cameras in this parking lot. So again, if they're not smart, we do need to replace these cameras with dumb cameras or something. So, Jim and I will have that conversation with you guys. We're ready to move forward on a purchase. And there's degrees of smartness too, we can dive into it. I don't know, Jim, do you want to add anything since you're here?
Do you really like?
I do because it's kind of true. Some integrate, like the automated license plate readers integrate with other systems that have missing people, kidnapped people, stolen cars. We generally consider that smart. There's a system, smarter system that's in place at some of our schools, which I find to be an outstanding system that I've used in the past. And it's very searchable. It's just not connected with NCIC and other databases that help us find criminals. So there are varying degrees, and it all comes down to our costs, what we collectively can afford, what you guys approve.
But Jim, in this thing here, the smart cameras, are those the automatic license plate readers?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so just by authorizing this budget, we're not saying Jim can go buy those things. He has to come back per our new ordinance
No,
and get that.
I get that. I think my concern is that on something we haven't approved yet is up at the top for number 1, the very, very most important item is something we haven't approved yet.
What?
I think
The smart camera.
I think I put it as number 1 because it was the largest dollar item on the list. You can,
Well, that's different than the others. That's different than what, so but you see my point is if this is something we haven't approved and have to go through an approval process, and may or may not happen, yet it's listed here according to everything else as the number one priority for the police. I just wanted.
Is it fair to say that it is the number one priority?
I don't know about that. They're all equally important. I agree with Tom where that's the largest item. That's the biggest ticket item. So I may have sent it to Tom in that fashion, most expensive down to more
Right.
affordable. They're all important to me.
But you want it on the budget in case we pass the thing and you can get
Correct.
those
I
things.
agree that.
And if, yeah, right.
Is this really your number one priority?
I wouldn't really say that. They're all
Yeah.
they're all important to me, to our public safety here. That's just one contributing thing.
Is the concern, Julia, that they'd hold off and save their pennies and not purchase the other $10,000 of stuff they need? Because I don't think that that's necessarily how this works.
Well, I'm just putting in the big picture
Sure.
of here's our budget.
Right.
And we've all agreed, like, oh, we need to really focus on, the message I hear is getting the important things done. And then I see this, if it's listed as the number one, and is that accurate?
Like I said,
And does it fall in the same priority importance to the city as a $15,000 creek cleanup or a $15,000 HVAC unit for Monteverde?
so I'm the police chief, so I'm going to say yes. But that's only because I'm the police chief and I trust Tom and all of you to make a decision in terms of prioritization. I will tell you this, it's very, very important. I can't say it's the most important. All those are important. That's why I brought them to Tom and he's bringing it to you. We've had recent cases where if we had better systems, we might have had a quicker result on cases. I can tell you that unequivocally. So it is important. In terms of, is it my most important? I don't know. They're all important.
Okay.
How about this? How about, because it is a unique purchase, the first one, not the car cameras. Just when you publish this on the next budget thing, it's somewhere with a little asterisk or something, because it is different than the others in that it has a whole other process
Sure.
now.
Why not put pending, asterisk that says pending council approval of purchase?
With that, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Jim.
I could also delete smart. Just say cameras.
Well, I think
Average.
would it be more accurate to put surveillance cameras?
No, I think the terms up there are good.
Okay.
Because it covers everything. It's not just surveillance, watching stuff. It captures information for later. It's a pretty complex system and useful. I mean, I think we're talking about semantics at this point. It's call it what you want. Super duper secret cameras.
The end of the world cameras.
Yeah, they're
Talking to the shoe.
yeah, exactly. They're important. So,
Well, and there's other things on here. There's 3.6 million for the solar and battery stuff that we're going to talk about next month.
Yeah.
So, we need to have it in here to keep going with this process.
Perspective. Yep.
Okay, who's next?
I had a couple of questions. I noticed that the cops' revenue is showing up as 200,000 a year instead of 100.
We've been seeing increased levels of revenue from that cops grant
Really?
consistently. Consistently. I don't know if the state funding changed and I just missed the bus, but I've been seeing higher levels of
Yeah.
revenue.
Just FYI, Tom, as it may or may not relate to Amador City in the future.
I can look at it again, but I'm pretty confident that
Yeah.
I think we're getting like a chunk. It's one of those big chunk, like kind of, yeah.
And they're not missing years. They're not catching up on prior years.
No, because I'm pulling up the revenue list right now, but I think it's
Okay.
been 2 or 3 years in a row now.
So let's just double
Like
check that.
165, I think, to
Yeah.
Sorry.
I had two other comments.
Okay, yeah, I think we've all got several that we'll pepper through. Did you added a couple more, right, Dan?
Yeah, that was one.
Okay.
Okay.
So Tom, I noticed planning services are budgeted like 15,000 less than, this year's actuals. What's that about? I couldn't figure out how we were gonna.
I think it I want to say it had to do with the Nexus study, but I'm not 100% sure.
Could you repeat the question, Dan? Sorry.
Planning budget.
The planning budget.
Yeah, the planning budget on, and I think it's people. I think it's Aaron specifically, but
You're talking, not personnel services, but down in materials and services.
right.
And you're seeing the planner specifically?
No, I'm making an
consulting.
assumption that
Consulting.
it's under planning services, and it's 15,000 less than the actuals for this year. So I didn't understand that.
I thought that was because we updated our cost recovery, but that's how I read it.
We updated what?
Well, our fees for everything to do a better job of recovering our costs.
No, I don't know.
We've had some, I know Aaron's had some big projects to also work through this year. We've talked about
Right.
them, some of them pretty
if it's Aaron
thoroughly.
and we're cutting her hours,
Yeah.
that doesn't seem right to me, because hopefully stuff's going on next year and we're going to need Aaron to do stuff, important stuff.
Fair
So
enough.
I would just warn us about doing that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it wasn't, again.
Yeah,
the
whatever, you
Other
guys can,
consultants lumped in there.
yeah, look it up and figure it out. We also are down 20,000 on legal.
Yes.
So,
Which budget are you looking at?
Derek just woke up.
well, it's on page 222 of 249 in the packet.
I had the
So there-
same question, and I just wanted to tag on, if we're prioritizing some code enforcement, I would think that would have to
That's the other
go
thing,
into legal.
So
and
you-
it's less.
Yes.
legal, I think you need to look at the total legal, which I'm pretty sure is going up. And it's allocated, some is in wastewater and some is in general fund. So,
Very good. Yeah, and that I wasn't able
so
to.
you're probably
see
just
that
looking at the
yet.
general fund
Yeah.
piece of it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then there was a separate 50,000 for code enforcement.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Very good.
But now that story does not follow true necessarily with the
On
planner.
No,
Correct.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that.
Now, I will say, since we were on the topic of the planner, you probably also saw the large spike that one year. That was because we had that LEAP grant and we spent all those funds in that
Totally.
year. So that was, a lot of that was reimbursed by that grant.
Got that. And then I see TOT budgeted at 100,000 less than actuals from 2 years ago. What's that trend about?
Yeah, it's just being conservative. This year's turning out to look, I think we had a really, really good year that year. And I think this year it's going to come in lower than that year. I think it's going to come in where budget's at for this year, but,
And that projected is,
and I'm trying to get to that page. I'm like scrolling like a madman.
yeah, I know.
While you're looking, it does seem like every month in your report where it says the TOT tax collected this year versus last year, it's lower.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something going down. And I feel like I hear that from, the proprietors too.
And it
Mhm.
seems like, the town is very active and very full.
It is super
Lot
full. I think it's day trippers, maybe, and
That's
yeah. But also we do have the new lodging group that hopefully will beef that back up.
Yeah, I just think we had a really strong year. I think, like I said, I think I remember looking at the number and I think we're going to come in fine with the budget. So that means the budget for this year, we also went down compared to the year prior. I just think it's better to be conservative and assume we're going to have a spectacular year like we did 24, 25.
Yeah, okay. That's your call. Appreciate that.
I can double check it though. Just
Right
make
on.
sure it seems reasonable.
Right on. And then my final comment, Mason, is really about the reporting aspect of all of this and really imploring you to have the new reporting ready to go by the new fiscal year.
Okay.
Okay. And anything I can do to help move that along.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one thing I'd say is there's some sheets hidden in the back. We did look at what things vary monthly versus more regularly. And we kind of made a call that if there were like big payments in certain months, then we did it kind of monthly. A lot of things are pretty much split evenly across the months, so we didn't have to do everything monthly.
This isn't about that.
Yeah, I think
This is
Dan's
about the
point-
reporting that.
I know, but I'm
w-
just letting you know, we actually tried to build the budget up
Oh, thank
a
you.
little more granularly.
Okay.
So when we do expect a payment a certain time of year.
Yes,
We're trying to get that into the
yes,
budget
I
now.
appreciate that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
But yes, no, that has not fallen off my radar.
Good.
It's going to take, so I don't want to divert too much off of the topic here, but a lot of that work is going to have to be done by me by hand to make that work the way that we talked about. So I'm working on figuring out the right way to do that.
Okay, we can take it
Building
offline.
to-
Let
yeah.
everybody stay on the budget thing. Thanks, Mason. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I have not forgotten, I promise you.
Good man. That's all I've got.
Jim, do you have something?
I'm good.
I had just, I think one,
Okay.
actually two. One is the,
You can only have one.
okay, it's one point
give her
five. 1.5. Crestview Lighting District Fund.
Not that one.
Oh, okay.
Kidding.
Okay, then I'll take the other one.
Eh.
Either then-
It projected for 25-26 was 10,000 for expenditures and it's dropped down to 2.
Yeah,
Are you
so
cutting off the lights up there?
no, no, that's the 2 that's on there. That's the lights right there.
Susan wanted a Dark Skies initiative, so.
If you recall last budget season, I remember we'd all had a discussion if we thought it was
Crestview.
appropriate to budget finance staff that much money for how much time it actually takes to do.
Yeah. Brought that.
Yes.
And I don't, after going through that process again this year, I thought, it seems like too much to charge them. I mean, and plus you see that put the fund balance into a bit of a deficit. At the end of the day, the general fund's going to pay for it. It's going to have to cover that overage. So I'm just like, why are we overcomplicating it? Let's just, so I think it cleans up the Crestview budget. I just think just leave it. It works. And plus I will also, Tom mentioned earlier, I was 1 or 2 parcels short on the revenue side on that. So that number for the revenue is actually going to go up because we had some construction in Crestview.
Okay.
So we have a new payee for the lights. It's no longer a vacant parcel.
So then my 0.51 is just curious, under park impact fees, says interest come, total use of money, total transfers in. We received a $125,000 donation for the mini Provis.
Yes.
Wow.
So there's a woman,
Oh, yeah.
do you remember her name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she really wants to do a disabled friendly playground. We've been talking for quite a long time. It seems like it's getting pretty
Yeah.
close to being able to happen.
So I'm not questioning. It's just something I
Yeah.
go, wow, yay.
I was,
Someone-
Was, we could talk about it more at another meeting or offline, but it was slated to happen at the district for 4 years or 5 years or something, and they slept on it and we scooped it up.
And then I just have one positive comment on the proposed budget for the park impact fees and the number of opportunities for recreation and activity that are going on in town. That's really good news. And I think it's a good visual for ourselves. So,
There is.
And I think I made a comment in there, didn't I? That again, right now we're trying to cover it if we really want to ramp up, rec activities, it's stretching us, right? We're gonna have to
Yeah.
see how we do that.
Right.
so the heated pool is still not part of it.
Well, that's a capital thing, but it's really the people.
Right.
Like this weekend, the adult basketball league wouldn't have happened without Tom Baldwin. He volunteered all of his time. And like this weekend, the referees got messed up and he was calling people and we had like amateur people reffing the games, but it all worked out.
Yeah.
So.
So good community spirit. So I just noticed that. And
I wanted
good
to
for town.
just chime back in really quick about the donation for mini Provis. I know Dan's not here tonight, but I did have a brief discussion with him last week about this. And according to him, he's been having conversations with Frank, and I guess they're getting like very close to potentially maybe going to bid for a job. I don't know. That's what he said, but it's so if he's saying that, then it must be getting pretty close.
The new Mark Hospital.
Yeah, Weber Geo, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the 140,000 mini Provis 140. Is that what that is?
It's,
The ADA?
It's 15 out of the general fund and 125
Right.
donation. Yeah.
But the project is
Yeah.
$140.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. ADA stuff is not inexpensive.
No.
Nothing's.
Right.
I had a couple. I'm not going to give you page numbers. It's kind of more of a theme. Although I am going to give you a page number. The city clerk expense I see on their contracts for weed abatement. I am not questioning that it's under the city clerk department. Please and thank you, Pam, for doing that. But we had talked last year about starting with some chunk of money and then seeing if we needed to use more and how that went. And I'm just not seeing on here what we spent last year, what we budgeted last year, and how that ended up.
It's the same amount we budgeted last year. We didn't spend any last year.
Okay, so we're gonna go with what we tried part of last year. It wasn't a whole calendar year, right?
No, we did the whole year.
Maybe?
We had everybody comply except for one property owner that we think lives in Florida that we could never get a hold of.
Okay,
Um,
so we're gonna keep rolling. It worked pretty well. I just remember we were gonna revisit if that was enough money, and I think we all thought it wasn't gonna be enough money. So that's good. And then several different pages of this. I just had some questions on code enforcement. I'm sure we'll hear soon ideas of who's going to do it, but also with legal department, I want to make sure we cover an increase in there if needed. And it's hard for us to see because it's separated somewhat, but I want to make sure that we put some money behind code enforcement in this budget because we've made it a priority. And maybe you can stupefy it for us or something when you bring it back next time and show us where that is.
It looks like it's on page 218 of 249. If I'm not mistaken, under legal, it's got 50,000, but then it splits it between the general fund and all the various funds. So that's 50,000 there. Is there additional?
No, that's it, I think.
That's it in
Yeah.
total
For code enforcement.
for code enforcement. So 50,000. So it's not just for a potential quote lawsuit. That includes the body that's going to be doing the inspections and meeting with people and talking.
And Derek?
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to look at that again. It might be low.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems light.
Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
I think that's all I had.
Cool. Good job, you guys.
I was,
Public?
well, thank
Chief?
you. I was, we were really pushing to have it be complete and it's not complete.
Yeah.
I was feeling bad about that, but.
Yeah.
That's all right.
We
We're
were
getting there.
burning the midnight oil last week to try and get it done, but it just didn't quite get there. And we wanted to bring you something that's,
I appreciate that we got started though. This was an important step.
This was good tonight.
Okay, are you guys good to move on?
Good to move on for me.
All right, item 10, mayor and council member reports. Jim?
I don't have any
Council?
or a report specifically. I do have some concerns about the cannabis dispensary process that we're going through. And I don't know if now is the appropriate time to ask that. I've asked previously or voiced my concerns with Tom and Derek in regards to the process. And I got answers that I thought were pretty well satisfactory, but I'm just wondering if we shouldn't. A lot of people are bringing up that question and whether we shouldn't go over it in public, sort of make it an agenda item to bring it all out in the open and be transparent about it and maybe quell some concerns. And my other concerns in regards to this process, Chat GTP, Derek, turns us all into lawyers, just like it turns everybody into a doctor. But I'm concerned about the city being exposed possibly because of fairness to potential competing applicants, whether the city should first adopt the ordinance and then open a competitive application process, whether the ordinance is being tailored to a specific project, potential equal protection or favoritism claims by future applicants. I want to go on the record that I'm concerned that the city might be opening themselves up to a lawsuit in this because of this process, that someone could claim that we're showing one company favoritism because so far they're the only applicant. And if my position on whether to allow a dispensary or not, I've made clear before. But if the city was to allow a dispensary, wouldn't we get the best deal if there was a competitive process for that one particular, if we're going to only allow one dispensary, shouldn't it be opened up to a competitive process? So I'm asking if those questions can be addressed and brought back at a later meeting.
So are you asking for an agenda item?
Yes.
Okay, what's the agenda item? I guess I'm not sure what you're.
I thought I know I'm not the best public speaker, but to address the
Yeah, you're
concerns in
pretty good.
regards to the process. Also, I asked Chat GTP, is it possible to process an application for a dispensary if at the same time the city's current ordinance doesn't allow it? And generally the answer is yes, you can do that. And some people have raised the concerns that you can't do that. So let's put that question to bed. And then the second half of my agenda item is, are we potentially exposing the city to a lawsuit because the process has been restricted basically to one applicant?
So I tried to describe the process a little bit today in my comments. I don't know, maybe it wasn't clear enough or didn't go far enough. You think that kind of presentation, is that the first part of, when I said what the planning commission will look at and what the council will look at and the timeline?
Just a question for you. I would think that all of that would be addressed in the staff report and the presentation when it all comes to planning commission and council. I'm not sure that it would be
I'm concerned,
separate thing.
I'm concerned that at that point, it might be too late to avoid a lawsuit. And if our legal thinks that what you're suggesting is okay and wouldn't open us up to a lawsuit, then that's fine. But let's at least talk about it and get an answer.
I don't know how much open discussion is this, but I had a similar request to agendize the consideration of amending the city ordinance prior to a decision to any furtherance of the dispensary application. So that's my specific request, and it kind of merges in with what Jim just said. I'm also concerned about the lack of transparency, the number of questions coming from the public, And the bottom line is, just because it's legal to do a developer agreement and public use permit, does that mean it's the best way? And that takes me back that I agree with Jim to agendize the consideration of amending the city ordinance regarding dispensaries in the city prior to any further processing of the application that's been submitted. Does that make sense, Jim? Is that
Yes.
similar?
I mean,
No.
it sounds like two different things.
Well,
They're looking for the same answer.
I'm not necessarily, I want to know, to be clear, I think what I was asking was that we educate the public in this council if in fact the process we're doing or using is appropriate. I'm not necessarily saying you want to, sounds like you want to abandon it.
I didn't say abandoned. I want to agendize it for discussion, whether it's the right way
Okay,
to
well, it
go.
sounds like
and
you're
to
now
have-
agreeing with me, is that?
It's different. You guys are talking about different things, I think.
I just, and again, I don't want to debate you, but on the transparency, I think I really wanted to be extremely transparent, and we brought this to the public really, really early. Like, and maybe that was a mistake. Like, a normal process when they submitted their application, which just occurred, is probably when it would have become public. But instead, I made it public back in January or February.
Right.
And so it feels like a really long time because nothing's happened. So I think that's part of it too, is like,
Okay, let me rephrase what I'm asking then. Can we agendize a report from the city attorney that explains how this process has been used elsewhere and is it appropriate for this situation? And the second part of my question is to our city attorney, is the city exposing itself to a potential liability in regards to someone else claiming that we excluded other applicants?
Jim, your first part sounds like a proposed agenda item. The second part is just a question. Is that accurate?
Okay, yeah,
Well, I'm
that
just
is,
taking
that is,
this as if
that
you-
is accurate, but
okay,
I'd
so if
like,
you
to-
just
I
did
would
the
like the
first-
question answered in public.
But not right now,
Not
because
right
it's not agendized.
No, not right now, no. He's got to research it.
Can I react?
Yeah,
Um,
please.
So my sense was when it first was brought to us, we were presented with the notion by staff, including legal, who indicated that the process that Embark was proposing, including the development agreement and modification of the current ordinance simultaneously, was well within our legal right to do, and in fact has been done multiple times. I've since discovered that's absolutely true, and there's been no problems. So I have no problem with the process that we voted on. I know you guys voted against it, but the majority of the council voted 3-2 to move down the road with that process. I understood it then, I understand it now.
Okay.
So I don't have an issue with, or a need to bring it back as an agenda item.
All right.
I agree. I think we voted on it already. I think that in my mind then, and then all the research I've done since, the benefit of it is the change we could make to the ordinance is very surgical, and it's just exactly what we decide when we decide when and if we decide there's something we would allow, rather than broadly opening the ordinance and possibly exposing ourselves to more activity than we had anticipated. And back to the transparency, we talked about this way early. We were like extra transparent, and I think it kind of backfired because we wanted to let people know as soon as we found out that this may be coming down the road, and we've taken all these steps, and it's left this giant vacuum of non-information and misinformation that I think that we're catching up on, but in no way was anything hidden or done behind closed doors. And I still believe, even though it's had some hurdles or hiccups or misunderstandings, I think that effort and transparency was the right thing to do. Also, I believe we've already voted on this and we're in the middle of the process, so I don't see any reason to go back and do it again. And then the last thing is just that, there's over half the counties in the state don't allow it, but all but 7 of those counties have cities that do. So we're not writing the book on this. This is done many, many times, many, many different ways. And this is the way we already voted to explore this.
We voted to explore. I think you're spot on with that. And I think in this exploration process, the feedback that we've been getting, that we've all been listening to and have at the meetings is asking for more. And I think I sense it's more clarification on what the process. That's been addressed to me. The most common question is, why are we doing this when we have an ordinance? And when we first discussed this, and that was back in April, it was not clear from the beginning that it would be this developer agreement and conditional use process versus having an ordinance and changing it. So I agree with Jim, and my request would actually go a step further. Even though we can do this, we can do and merge the 2 actions with the developer agreement and conditional use permit. Is it the right thing to do, given the backlash that we have heard overwhelmingly from our members coming to us at the meeting? So I'm listening to what they're asking. I'm looking at what we originally agreed to explore. But now it seems that I don't ever remember voting that we can do an agreement, a developer agreement and conditional use permit, as opposed to dealing with an ordinance, modifying it, approving or disapproving that, and then moving forward from there. And I think there also has to be a consistency that this council shows, as was brought forward tonight, that this is what you want to change, you change the ordinance, and then you look to make the change. And the developer agreement and conditional use permit process is antithetical to that.
But I will disagree with you, even though I agree and disagree with you. In that original packet, there was a whole draft ordinance, as I recall.
With the proposed verbiage.
Yes.
With the
Yeah.
changes in it. So.
But we've never gone back to that. We've never returned to that.
I think.
I'm
that's
missing you,
that,
Julie.
but
I think that's exactly what
Probably
we
getting
voted.
way in the weeds here. I can tell Derek is getting nervous.
Yeah, so at this point, if you want some type of report, I need to say a couple things. I'm dealing with the very impacted schedule, and I will be out for my oldest child's college graduation at the latter part of next week. And our practice is to get agendas out by next Monday or Tuesday. I really do not have the ability to crank out an authoritative memo by your next meeting. And I just have to put that out there. I am aware of the issues. It is something that we can address. The only thing I will say, I don't want to get into the substance, is that we are requiring a very broad indemnity of the proposed applicant. So such that if there is a competitor who files a sour grapes lawsuit, that would be the obligation of the competitor or the
Okay, well,
cannabis
you've-
entity to indemnify us for. So
You've gone a long way in answering my question because I'm concerned
Yeah.
that we would be on the
There-
hook.
there-
You're saying we're
there
going to
has
be
been-
indemnified.
there has been litigate, what I will say very generically is there has been litigation often in Southern California over permit schemes where there was a competitive process and the applicants who did not receive the permits claimed unfairness, corruption, other things. I'm not aware of any appellate authority, nor am I aware of any of these operators who have been successful. But what I can say is this is something that I have been looking at. It's something in the back of my mind. And as we go, I want to emphasize that we have a planning commission hearing that we're targeting for July 8th. And then we have to bring it back to your council. There are ordinances involved, so your council will have 2 readings of the ordinances. So it's not actually just going to be one council meeting. Now we obviously, oftentimes we just do a second reading pretty quickly, but I doubt that'll happen. So you're going to have 2 council meetings and a planning commission meeting, and this is going to unfold over July and August. So there's time to flesh out the issues, is what I'm saying. But,
Okay.
I just, and the other thing I will say is, there is a referendum potential if people are unhappy. So the citizenry, if they want to have, their ability to act as a check on anything you do, if you do anything, the referendum is available to them at the end of the process because there are legislative acts. So I don't want to, if you
Right.
need a report at the next meeting, I can put
You-
something small
I
together.
think you've kind of outlined everything that I was hitting on about just assuaging or putting to rest some of the misconceptions or concerns. But if you don't have time to do it by the next meeting, I could get.
But
I get that.
it's something that I'm very aware of, is what
Okay.
I'm saying. I don't want to get into the weeds. There's not some public, in my world, is there a statute? If there's not a statute, is there a regulation? If there's not a regulation, is there published appellate authority? There's none of that in this situation that deals with what your genuine valid concerns, Jim.
Okay.
There have been some legal battles, and so I'm aware of those, is what I'm
Okay.
saying, and
Okay,
it's
good.
something that I will take into account.
Good. That makes me feel better that you have the similar concerns. Okay. And I want to go on, say that, if this goes forward to the proposed location, I think I may have a possible conflict of interest because I own property across the street. I've asked the FPPC for a ruling on that. But I don't think that my asking about the process is a violation, that have a conflict of interest in asking about the process.
The other thing, just so.
I may not be able to vote on it, though.
Yeah. The only,
Even
I
if
do
you-
want to entertain Councilmember Sirk's request. So just speaking purely process oriented, so you can decide if you want to have an agenda item. The city council could sponsor an initiative and put a question to the voters. As with the city the city treasurer resolution, we're going to have to do that pretty quickly because we have to call an election. The drop dead date is August, early August. So as a practical reality, we're going to want to do that by July. So we could, I just want to, so Councilmember Sirk can have
Right.
an
Thank you.
analysis in response, and then you can make a decision. If you want to do something like that, staff would need direction on what kind of initiative you would want to present. And I don't want to talk about this tonight, but the application could still go forward before the election would be in November. I mean, the path that we're on is that we're, intending to bring the application forward before November. So we'd have to address that issue. I don't want to get into that issue tonight. I just want to
No,
tell
no,
you.
no, that's
I think
understandable.
if you want to hear this at a future agenda, those are the issues we would raise.
I just want to implore our council, our staff, that we are listening to our constituents, bottom line. That's where I'm coming from.
Dan? Do you have a council member report?
No. Thank you.
Okay,
I
city
did have a
attorneys. Oh,
Air board.
okay.
We did have a Air District Board meeting on May 19th. Possible action with the Sutter Creek bin charge will be ongoing discussion. We may be facing next year the same scenario we did this year. They're trying to find ways to avoid that, working with Republic. Thank you.
So I just want to be 100% clear. Nothing was agendized.
Correct. Derek, city attorney's report,
No report?
information and correspondence. Oh, go ahead, Jim.
I'm sorry, I did have one more thing. Are we able to get that picture up there? Okay, could you possibly put that up?
I don't have
The picture?
Yeah, I did get it. Hang on a second.
The reason I'll let you get it. Okay, the reason I'm bringing this up is in the city manager's report, they talked about there had been some cleanup up at the gateway. And this is up at the corner of Sutter Hill Road and Ridge Road, or yeah, that's my pickup there.
Uh-huh.
My family owns that little plot there, right there. So I put that up for the picnic every year. And we used to be able to put up banners across the street. And I'm wondering if we might consider bringing back an agenda item to put something up, a structure like, and that one's really crude. It's just some T-posts, but something a little more permanent up there at the gateway, so that when you have the Christmas parade, you have, what's the one with?
Yeah, the big
What's
stuff.
the one that Stevens is all in?
Right, ragtime.
The Ragtime Festival, they've got a banner that we've got a place to where our merchants or organizations could put a banner up there at the gateway, maybe find a location. I know it might look maybe sign pollution, I don't know, but
Have to figure out how to do it, but yeah.
just a thought.
Somewhere up there. It's Caltrans too, right? Aren't they funnier about?
I've
signs?
offered the Merchants Association or this, if they ever want to put up a banner for something.
So,
So duck race, absolutely.
where is this located?
Up at the
That's
top of the,
right across from Umpqua Bank.
as you're going down from
Across
the.
from
Yeah, where that
Right across from the Umpqua Bank, when you make it,
where the triangle is.
yeah, when you make a
Yeah.
left turn onto Sutter Hill Road, it's right there.
So, we do have a banner fee to post banners down near the farmer's market.
Right.
I don't know if we used to charge when they went across the street. I think we did. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if we would
Well-
charge. I
well,
think
this-
we'd want to charge because I think we want to control what signs go up. But this is your private
Oh, this is
property.
private property. So if
It's kind of up to you. It's
I
like,
can do what I want, I think.
it's like that signboard on your building. It's
But I'm just saying that the gateway would be an excellent location
Yeah.
Right. He's
to
not,
Oh,
advertise.
he's not talking about
adver-
this occasion.
No, I'm just showing that as kind of what it looks like. I'm proposing a similar permanent structure at the gateway to
Right.
promote events downtown.
I see.
with
Okay.
a greater visibility, yeah.
So we do have a sign ordinance, Jim. Just saying.
I think temporary ones, you're okay, right?
I think it's a cool idea. I think it would be a pretty quick check to see, since that's Caltrans territory,
Yeah.
if there's a restriction there.
That's,
I know one other
not
thing,
Caltrans.
So
Or-
is there a majority? Are you asking to agendize that or?
Did you want to agendize it or look
I-
into it?
look into it.
Are
Okay.
you going to look into it or are you?
I'd be
asking
happy
staff
to.
Look into it. Cool. Let us know what you find out.
I,
Well,
I would like to agendize an item. Claire brought it to my attention, and it was following up from Lisa Wiskowski, who spoke on behalf of the Visitor Center. And I'm going to be writing up a resolution on behalf of all of her benefactor work, and would like to be able to present that to her at the next meeting under presentations.
So, yeah, I had to talk to Claire about that. I think she talked to you.
Yeah,
So let's just confirm her availability and it'll happen when she's available.
I'll send her a text.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, I think that'll do it, right? We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Right.